Today's learning target is I can write and solve equations using mental math. The first thing I want to take a look at today is the word equation and what that means. And an equation is a sentence that contains two expressions separated by an equal sign. So let's take a look, some examples. Some examples here would be 7 plus 4 equals 11. That's an equation. All right. Another example would be just like what we did yesterday. A plus 2 equals 9. Okay, or 3 equals x minus 7. Okay, those are all equations. They have an equal sign. Okay, an equal sign right there, and two expressions. Okay, so right there. So the other thing to keep in mind is when we take a look at that equal sign, remember all we're saying is the two sides are the same. Okay, so sometimes you'll see problems that look like this. 4 plus 1 equals x plus 2. Okay, and all we have to do is figure out how do we get these two sides equal or the same. Okay, so 5, in this case we have x plus 2, so how would I get this side to equal 5? Well, x would have to equal 3, so I would put 3 plus 2, and now they're equal. Let's take a look at how I could solve this problem mentally, or in my head. So I can see I've got my problem here, and it says p, or some number, and when I take away 5, I want that to be the same as, or equals, 20. Alright, well, in my head I'm thinking to myself, alright, this side I know is 20 right here. Okay, I want this side to equal 20. But when I choose a number for the variable p, it's going to have to be a number that I can take 5 away from and get it to equal 20. So in my head, I know that would make sense if it were 25 minus 5, because I know that's 20, and that now makes my two sides the same. So I know that p would equal 25, so I just solved it. In this problem, I want to solve the equation and find out what y equals. So I have 8, and that equals some number, or y, divided by 3. Okay, now, when I'm doing this one mentally, remember, keep in mind that you have multiplying and dividing are opposites, just like adding and subtracting are opposites. So, I'm going to find here what number, when I divide it by 3, or put it into groups of 3, am I going to get 8 in each group? Okay, well, in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, this is a division problem, but I can use multiplying to help me with this. And if I multiply these two, that's going to tell me what y equals. So in my head, I'm thinking, okay, 8 times 3 is 24. Now I just want to see if this makes sense for y. So I have 8, and that equals 24 divided by 3. And now I think to myself, let's see, if I put 24 into groups of 3, so if I had groups of 3 and I split it up into, split 24 up into groups of 3, I'd have 8 in each group. 8, 16, 24 when I add those. So yes, y is going to equal 24. In this problem here, 7h, so 7 times some number, equals 56. Okay, well, I might think to myself, let's see, 7 times 10 is 70, so that's going to be too much. I know that 7 times 8 is 56. So in this case, I know h equals 8, because 7 times 8 would be the same as or equals 56. And again, here's where knowing those multiplication facts really makes things easier. In this problem here, it says Jordan has 16 video games. This is 3 less than the number Casey has. To find out how many video games Casey has, the equation V stands for video games, minus 3 is going to equal 16, can be used. How many video games, so that's what our V represents, does Casey have? So to solve this problem, it actually gives me 3 choices that I can go from. And I want to think to myself, which one makes the most sense? And so if I want to figure out what V equals. So taking a look at these, I see this one's going to be too small. This one would be too small. I know 18 minus 3 is 15. That wouldn't be right. I see that 19 minus 3 would equal 16. So I know my correct answer for this would be letter J, or V would equal 19.